Hey, Greg, thanks for talking to us again today. Just wanted to find out what you're seeing in this group so far. Obviously, we're 8 games into the season. There's been some successes. I think there's been a lot of growth over the last year, but how are you feeling about the team right now?
Yeah, I feel good about the group. I think, I think the ideas within the group. I said at the beginning of the year, if we defend well, we're gonna have a good season. I think we've defended well. That's been a good part. I think we've been solid in our ability to control games, to possess the ball. I think we've had some solid to good chance creation. There needs to be a higher percentage in the chance finishing category, but I think those things will continue to grow and to come. And I think our ability to, for our group in particular, our ability to defend well and to, again, control games is an important part of it. I think the finishing and some of the timing and some of those issues, getting Douglas going and getting the rest of the guys around, continue to push Kev and to get some more goals out of Efra, Sam, Douglas, this group around Javi. I think that stuff's going to come. So the rest of it is, again, just being able to control games on the defensive side of things, be able to control games in possession. And I think we're continuing to build. I see the group as very cohesive. They're confident. Again, working hard. There's a lot of things that I think that make great teams that are there for this team. The next step is being able to put teams away when we have as much control of games as we have, being able to finish some teams off. Having said that, Nashville is very often in games that look like the one that looked like the other night. They just don't give up many goals. They have 3 guys who do a great job, plus the goalkeeper protecting the goal. So, you got to take your chances when you have them. And, we finally did at the end of the last one, but I feel like we also created some opportunities inside of those 85 minutes before that where we probably could have picked up another one here or there. And they really had nothing in 90 minutes. So I felt like that's a pretty good way to be.
When you're looking forward now to playing Real Salt Lake, a team that seems a little Jekyll and Hyde at times, perhaps haven't won in the last 5 games though, but haven't played a whole bunch of games at home either. What do you see from them? And then an update on Victor Vasquez at the end of that, if you could, please.
Yeah, I think they're a dangerous team. Again, I mean, they came off of a really difficult 2 results last week, and then they went on the road and were a little more conservative, a little more compact. They allowed Portland more of the ball, which is a strategy that teams use against Portland at times. They used it. They had a great chance at the end to come away 1-0. They didn't. But I felt like when I saw their reaction at the end of the game, they got what they wanted, which was they didn't give up anything, and they felt like they protected themselves pretty well coming off of a stretch in which they hadn't done so well at doing that. So, the question is, how much confidence did they get out of this last game? How expansive do they feel like they want to be at home? It's always a difficult place to play no matter what. So how aggressive will they be versus, how will they sit in a mid-low block? These kinds of things are things we have to read as the game is happening, but they have players who can make plays, and they're going to always have a strong mentality to compete. That's Pablo's MO is just he gets the guys ready to work, ready to compete, difficult to play against. If some of the things happen or don't happen on the attacking side, they'll still be difficult to play against. So we've got to take the game as it comes to us and try to put it in our vision, but we've got to be able to also protect ourselves and manage the game appropriately in Salt Lake, which is always a challenge.
And on Victor?
Victor making his way back. He was on the field today. I would put him as questionable for the weekend. We'll see if he can cross the bridges tomorrow, which is going to be difficult, to be honest, and then we'll see. But he's getting closer. He's back on the field and involved in stuff. So.
Thanks, Greg.
We'll go with Damian Calhoun next.
Hey, Greg.
Hey,
your thoughts on Dayon? I mean, he had one big moment against Nashville. He told us he wants more minutes. So how do you sort of, work him into the lineup a little bit for, longer than 5 or 10 minutes, or how do you sort of balance that without interrupting what you've done so far on the field?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was an outstanding finish for Dayon. I think he should want more minutes. I hope he keeps pressing for more minutes and showing. This week he actually had more minutes than he had in any previous week because he got a midweek game for 75, 80 minutes in the Open Cup game. I think probably and he took his opportunity. He's going to have more minutes because we have a lot of games coming up in the month of May, plus, finding good times for him to get into these games that we have, finding ways for him to come on, and at times like we did this week in the image of certain games to get him on with Javier is also something that we can look at. Look, part of the reason it worked this weekend is we had so much possession in their half of the field, and they had so many guys deep in the back. They had 5 guys across the back line. We could afford to put another attacking player on in the image of the game. One of the things that we talked about with Dayon is when we have a lot of possession, sometimes it's difficult for Dayon to find space and for him to get on the ball, and he tends to float around in areas where he's not dangerous. In this particular game, I was a little hesitant to put him on up high because I think he's struggled to find opportunities. So we put him on in a position that was slightly wider. And he was almost like a winger who was tucked into a position where he could then face forward whenever he got the ball and face the goal. And so it ended up working out because the touch that he got that he finished, if he's playing central striker, I'm not sure if he gets to face the goal like that. Whereas when he's coming from that slightly wider position in this scenario, he's now facing the goalie, one touches, finishes it to the back post. So it's trying to find, again, it's the moments, it's the scenario, but he's been great. He's working hard in training. His opportunities are going to continue to come. Striker's mentality is not to be patient. So I appreciate that he wants more minutes. I get that, and more minutes are going to be in his future for sure. There's, like I said, we have optimistically 7 games coming up in the month of May, along with the game this weekend. There's going to be lots of opportunity for everyone to make a difference and have an impact.
And one update: Mark Delgado, he was limping, I think, after the game. Everything's okay with him?
He's good. I think Mark always limps after the game. I just think he's looking for attention, I'm just kidding. He put in a shift. He was excellent, and as he has been all year. And I think, it was a grind for everybody to get through that and get the win. So, he's good though. He's all right.
All right, thanks.
Yeah.
We'll go with Edward Kowich with LA Times en Español. Go ahead, Edward.
Thank you for taking the time to talk to us, Greg.
My pleasure.
Greg, this is your second season with the Galaxy. Is there something in specific that you told Efrain Alvarez at the beginning of the season, something that you wanted to see from him? And if you can talk to us about his progress so far.
Yeah, I mean, the things that we've talked about with Efra, we want him to be as much involved as possible, get as many touches as he can. So it's staying connected to the game in various ways. We've used him inside, we used him coming off of the outside. But it's to be as involved in the game as much as possible and not kind of fade in and out of games. And I feel like in the past, sometimes he's faded in and out. And for a player of his ability and the goal that he has is that he needs to be on the ball and trying to make some final decisions. We've asked him to stay a little bit higher in between the lines because he had the tendency in the past to drop on the other side of the midfield line and pick up balls, but then he becomes less dangerous. So again, it's more touches in between lines to be able to run out behind the back line sometimes to open up space or to maybe get the ball behind the back line. To try to be in that finishing zone where he can help get more goals and assists and looks at goal. The other part is just he's a grinder. Like, he can cover a lot of ground. I think he covered the third most ground in the game the other day. It's just trying to get him to find little moments where he can change gears and get to this 12 to 16 mile an hour range where he's doing a little bit more high intensity work inside of some little sprints here and there, just the little things that impact the game, and do that over the course of the game a little bit more so he can have a greater impact. I mean, I think he's been excellent. He's an incredible talent. He's also starting to organize for me, organized his ideas on what he's going to see happen just a little bit earlier, where in the past I felt like he was organizing those ideas more when he was getting the ball, and now I think he's starting to see actions ahead of the play a little bit, which is going to make him, better and better, because his ability to technically make things happen is fantastic, and now it's just to organize situations before he gets the ball is kind of that next thing. Getting him around other players that like to combine, like Douglas, like Victor, like some of our other combining players, is also really beneficial for him, because he likes to play off of people as well. And then he's put in the work on the defensive side. I really like how he's remained committed to his role on the defensive side, to stay proactive, to help lead us sometimes into a higher press, but also doing his job when he's away from the ball, staying connected to the group. I think he's just growing into a player who can do his job for 90 minutes and have the impact over the whole course of the game, and not just in little flashes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We'll go with Katia Castorena with ESPN next.
Thanks, Vicky. Hi, Greg. A little bit more on Efrain. He was just talking about, with us a few minutes ago, and he was talking about his motivation, especially this year being a World Cup year. He wants Tata to see him. So how do you see that change, maybe because of that motivation and of him trying to establish himself more with the Galaxy?
Yeah, I think the World Cup is a great motivation for him and for a lot of players who are kind of on that perimeter, or even if they're in the picture, it's that extra motivation. But some of us forget at times that Efrain's 19 years old, almost 20 years old, and his motivation should be to have a big long career and be in multiple World Cups and to impact a lot of games between now and then. And so there's a lot for him to be motivated about. And so, I think this is added motivation. So for him, it's just continue to grow as a player. And like I said, to find the right moments inside of a game to impact and have a difference, and find the right moments in the game where he needs to be just reliable and secure and do the right things in the group, both with and without the ball, and show that maturity. I think that's what a guy like Tata will probably take out of it, is that he can trust Efra on the defending side in a World Cup, that he can trust him in possession, and then Efra can show what he can do to make a difference in a game. So I think when you're talking about big events like that in national teams, you got to show you have all those things in your locker before, and you might get the opportunity, because he does have special qualities for sure. But it's being reliable for 90 minutes and those other moments that I think everybody, when you're talking about a World Cup, that probably Tata will want to see. So he's growing in that for sure. As I just went on a long discussion about what all the things that he's growing at, I think he's showing that maturity, in my opinion. Last year I thought he lost some balls very easily sometimes, trying to do too much. This year I think he's much more reliable in possession and choosing his moments much more wisely than he had earlier in his career, which has been it's been fun to watch. He's, like I said, he's a fun talent to work with, and very, 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 very soccer clever, which is unique for a young man that's of his age. We forget, I forget sometimes that he's as young as he is, because he has a different maturity about how he approaches things.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Now we'll close out with Celso Oliveira from Territorio MLS.
Coach, thanks for taking my call. Thanks for taking my question. Territorio MLS Brazil. Regarding Douglas Costa, he played 71 minutes against the Chicago Fire. Then he started, and then against Nashville, he came off the bench. Had a great picture with Grand Sear. Seems like they're really, happy about that partnership on his Instagram. Can you talk a little about getting him up to speed, as you mentioned earlier, and where do you like to see him, eventually when he's full and 100%?
Yeah, a few different things there. Yeah, he has a great relationship with Sam. It's like a big brother, little brother, very competitive. Every day they're keeping track of who's winning and who's scoring more goals, and so they have a lot of fun together, as they do with the other guys. But those two in particular have a great banter back and forth. For Douglas, it's getting him up to speed from a fitness standpoint, getting him used to kind of the league, the travel, the different services, the different things that are there. We've been working with him on also just trying to strengthen different areas of his, let's say, his physical, his body, just from, maybe a couple injuries like that have led to just some weaknesses that we want to continue to strengthen, so that not after every game that he plays 75 or 90 minutes that he needs 4, 5, 6 days to recover. He's working really hard to get that stuff done, and he's really bought in on all the things that we've put in front of him and we've asked him to do, and where we're trying to get him, and he's been working hard. So I think we're really getting close to where he is. We just can't have any more little, we got to minimize the little setbacks. Nothing that we've had that's major, but just things where he's needed a couple days to recover. The reason I didn't start him this weekend wasn't because he wasn't ready to start. He just didn't get a ton of work in the week leading into the game, and I didn't want to put him into a situation where he was vulnerable. Then something happens and we lose him. So we're just, again, trying to build him up and be smart about this. It's we want to have him at top form and top fitness as we approach. May would be great because of so many games and through the summer. So, but he's been excellent. How we would use him. I liked using him on the inside recently a couple times, especially with Victor not available. It gave us somebody who is very tidy in between the lines, likes to get involved with, in combination with guys, so he's able to overload areas. He's got a great eye for the final pass. Obviously, he can eliminate a defender on the dribble, but I think when he's on the inside, he just gets many more touches sometimes than when he's on that outside, playing more as a winger. But having said that, he's made his bread and butter over the years as a winger, so we could use him there as well. And so there's different ways to use him. He's an attacking player, but he's very versatile as I see it, and it's going to be, depending on who else is on the field and the relationships and how they can work out together, with him. He's comfortable playing anywhere. He's said that to me. He's happy to play in any of the attacking positions. So it's been comfortable. It's just kind of seeing how the game can best, he can impact the game the best in what area of the field, and that's kind of how we're going about it.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, pleasure.
Not sure, we had another one from Andy.
Anyone?
Oh, good, Ricky. I was going to ask about Douglas too. So, Greg did a great job answering the questions as he always does. Thanks, Greg.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks for your time,
Okay,
Greg.
everyone. Have a great day.
Alrighty, everyone. Thanks.
We're on camera.
Yeah.
So 2 questions